Fan.
My cabbages!
Low, man.
Ah, my cabbages!
What is up, everybody? It is Andrew Esquire, your boy over here, Legal Minds Teacher to be your own judge, and we're going to have a great episode today on The Breakup. I hope you enjoyed the thumbnail there. We're going to be talking about Johnny Somali and Hank Yoo breaking up. It's so sad. Ladies and gentlemen, it is so sad. We're going to have some appeal updates on what's going on with the appeal. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, I have been neck deep in Somali updates, news, talking to people on the SCT behind the scenes. There's going to be some things coming over the next few days to get you guys updated on. There's a lot going on. We had an interview with someone who we'll get in some details about this, about what's going on in the jail, in the detention centers, and what life is like in Korean prison for Somali. That's going to be coming up as well. We got a lot of good stuff this week, and then we're going to, of course, have other stories, other shows. I do plan on doing a member stream this week, so stay tuned for that. Next couple days, that'll be popping off. But I'm very glad to be back here live with you guys, of course, live from Thailand. I'm back here in Thailand, hanging out. We got Mudang. We got the cabbages. Definitely going to have a cabbage plushie here. My mic is not muted. Yeah, I know. There's no scuff today. I'm doing good. I'm doing very, very good. We're scuff free. So we got the cabbages. We got Mudang. We're doing it. We're doing great. We're doing great. I need to reload on the swear jar though, because I'm getting a little low on swear jar ammo. That said, I'm very happy to be here with you guys, and thank you for supporting me. We've been having some great numbers, some great viewership during this coverage, and of course, we're going to have a lot of other good topics for you today. And I will probably be doing a follow-up on the, maybe I'll do it on my member stream to the Saikuno stuff now that Mujin issued an apology. So for those that watch my other coverage, that'll probably be members. I'll probably do it on the members chat. So maybe that'll be one we go over on that, because a little bit of, the legal is light, but there's more holistic stuff to comment on there. But anyway, it's good to see everybody here. Let me get some chats here. Mr. Melancholy 4973 for 2 said, but Andrew, they were the ultimate power couple. I know. It's so sad to see them break up, because they were just the ultimate duo in stupidity for a while. Which, I mean, you could see where that ended. You see how that ended for Johnny Somali, right? And now Hank is also facing consequences as a result of this relationship with Johnny Somali, pretty much. And you're going to see today how Johnny Somali screws over pretty much everybody that he works with, associates with, etc. His audience, he lies to everybody. His audience, he lied to the police, the judge, and even his BFF Hank, right? Even the one who did literally everything for this dude. He betrayed him. Ultimate anime betrayals. Profane 1 for 5 says, since there's no speedy trial in Korea, could the prosecutor continue to legal wombo combo RKI as he thinks he's nearing the end of his sentence? Yes, they could file new charges and keep him there even longer. So yes, that is very, very possible. For example, the stuff he did on his drunk night out that first day of court, there's a lot of potential crimes in there they could charge him for just on that day. They've got the CHS stuff that's in the Eastern District, which we'll talk about in a future episode as well. There's a lot of stuff they can still bring. So they could drag this out, like needle him over the next, 6 months. They could add more stuff. They could keep them there for a long time. And now Hanky Poo is going to have an option, if he chooses to exercise it, right, to keep him there for longer as well. RJ Mimno says, thanks for the content. Keep up the good work. My pleasure. I am glad to be here for you guys. So let's start with the appeal update. In case you guys didn't see, this was something I posted on my X account. And this is, we got an official statement from the law firm representing the victim. So this is I posted this as an article on X. You can see it here. And I did do my fast facts video. I know a lot of you guys probably caught that one and wanted to see that. But I wanted to post this because this is special, because in this article, we got the official English translation from the law firm directly. So I know you guys have been dealing with, the translated Korean, like Google Translate isn't always perfect. So this version is the version of the statement from the victim in this case being Bong Bong, from Nova Law Firm, which is their law firm, and they gave an official English statement to us as we reached out by email. So this is from the law firm, right? So statement from the victim, that's Bong Bong, legal counsel on the first instance sentencing of Johnny Somali. Nova Law Firm, as legal counsel for the victim in the Johnny Somali deepfake digital sex crime case, violation of the Act on Special Cases Concerning the Punishment of Sexual Violence Crimes, that's deepfakes essentially, distribution of false video material, issue the following statement. On April 15, 2026, the Seoul Western District Court found the defendant, Johnny Somali, legal name Ramzi Khalid Ismail, very important to call him Ramzi because he hates it, guilty on all counts, including obstruction of business, violation of the Deepfake Act, and also Minor Crimes Act. The court sentenced him to 6 months imprisonment and ordered his immediate detention in the courtroom. The defendant's immediate custody is a meaningful outcome. The court made it clear that he committed repeated offenses against an unspecified number of victims for the purpose of generating YouTube revenue and has shown a severe disregard for the Korean legal order. That is an understatement of the year. This delivers an unambiguous message. The practice of monetizing content by trampling on another person's dignity will not be tolerated. However, and this is an important however, the court found the defendant guilty of distributing false sexual images under the Sexual Violence Punishment Act. We find it regrettable in the sentencing phase that the court reasoned that the victim does not appear to have suffered severe sexual humiliation. The fact that a victim responded with composure must not be interpreted as evidence that no sexual humiliation occurred. Such reasoning risks sending a harmful message to deepfake victims that they must visibly perform their suffering in order to have their harm recognized. We believe this reasoning is not unrelated to the fact that the sentence imposed fell well short of the 3 years sought by the prosecution. After consulting with the victim, that is Bong Bong, we have decided to submit a formal request to the competent prosecutor's office urging an appeal. Given the impact of the court's reasoning on sexual humiliation may have on sentencing standards in future deepfake cases, we believe this matter must be reviewed by a higher court, and I couldn't agree more. We hope this ruling serves as an occasion to heighten public awareness of personal right violations committed through online platforms and of deepfake-based sex offenses. Nova Law Firm, as counsel for the victim, will continue to provide full support through the appellate proceedings to ensure Johnny Somali receives the punishment that his conduct warrants. Absolutely agree with that. It's by Don Ho Lee, managing partner, attorney at law of Nova Law Firm. So that's their official statement. I'm glad they put it on the record. I'm glad they got that out there. And I'm glad that with this, the possibility of appeal, the probability of appeal goes up absolutely radically. So that's a good thing. That's a very, very good thing. Andrew Dale, a member for 12 months. It started with Somali. It's great to see the ending. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're here for it. Michelle Woods for 10 says, oh my God, I made it. I've been mostly seeing Atozi live lately. First time watching live stream. Oh, well, that's very awesome. I mean, I know Atozi does very short live streams. I do mine are a little bit longer, a little bit more free flow here on the Legal Mindset. But it's good to see you here. Appreciate you and appreciate everybody who's checking in, whether it's your first time or whether you've been here for a long time. Funky says, my cabbages ordered great. They're very cute and very soft. So you will enjoy it. John Case 9207s for 1999 says, good evening, Legal Mindset. Finally a live chat at a time when I can watch start to end. Keep up the good work. Praying here for a prosecuting appeal and a much longer sentence. So am I. Yeah, it's a little late here. I normally don't do these midnight live streams, but I wanted to get this one out. And I know it's, Sunday, there's a lot of people around during the day in the US. People are still up over here in Asia. So, I thought it was a good time to do it. Donardo Lee Gaston says they were the Luke and Laura Spencer of today. Derp 21 says, I'm hoping the appeal happens. Thank you for the coverage. Me too. And I do think the appeal will happen. Auto 1630 for 10 says, legal mindset, more like seriously for the goal. Hi, Danielle. Have a great day. Hey, appreciate you and appreciate everybody who's here enjoying the legal mindset. Michael McLeod 6517 for 20 says, maybe if Bong Bong testified earlier, Ramsey would have a longer sentence. I honestly don't see the point in an appeal. Better let Ramsey do his time and then to put him back on a flight back home with either permanent. Well, no, the appeal will only increase his time. So it's not really going to go down. He already got an extraordinarily light sentence. So the chances of it going to zero are almost zero. And to be honest, with how long an appeal takes, by the time the appeal is done, that's going to be pretty much 6 months probably. So And like I said, with an appeal, let's say the appeal is going to take more than 6 months. Well, then he's going to be detained in the detention center, right? Until that appeal is done. So oftentimes in many cases, you are better off just not appealing than appealing and just serving your time and leaving. But most people don't know that. Johnny Somali doesn't know that. And mind you, he is now in the detention center. So he is not getting updates from the internet. He's not able to watch my streams. I'm very sad because Johnny Somali can no longer put that one dislike on my channel right immediately. I'm very sad about that. But he's now limited in his information. So, all that time he had when he was out and could have done real legal research or, maybe got a second legal opinion or whatever, he didn't do that. Supervids85 for 50 says, depending on Johnny's behavior in prison, good or bad, will that affect him in future sentencing? No, it will not. They do not factor in good behavior, bad behavior. They don't care how you're acting in prison. It's all about how you acted before. How long does the appeal process take, says the Evil Grebo for 10? It can take anywhere between, if it's going quick, maybe 4 or 5 months. If it goes long, it could take up to a year. So it can take a while. Atlantic, thank you for the 10 Legal Mindset membership.
Are you guys enjoying the stream today?
Appreciate that. And please say thank you if you received a membership. Sir Guard Pebble Nettle Soup for a member 18 months says, is it true what Gramps and Professor said that the sentence is borderline illegal? I think they're being a little bit hyperbolic. I mean, because obviously if the judge is allowed to do what the judge is allowed to do, but it totally flies in the face of the sentencing guidelines, right? So borderline, sure. Yeah, borderline, right? It's changing the law. And it's creating a new lenient law that actually punishes people from abroad less by saying, well, because they're from abroad and they can't travel home, that's a disadvantage. So we're going to sentence them lightly. That's horrible precedent. ATKRON 95 says, did the appeal bring him back to court or is it procedural? So he is in the detention center while it happens. Right. So for that, what they will do is on his trial day, they will drag him out of the detention center in a jumpsuit, like a prison jumpsuit. You guys have all seen like the orange jumpsuits. He comes out in the orange jumpsuit. They bring him to court and then he goes right back to the detention center. So he's not getting to run around free like he was before. Atlantic says, greetings from Germany. Gruß, vielen Gruß over there to my people in Deutschland. Hope you guys are doing well. I don't know whether it's Guten Morgen, Guten Tag over there. I never keep track of it. It's nighttime here, but glad to have you. Andrew Dale says, ordered a cabbage will look great being held by my Smug Alana plushie. Oh, yeah. Shout out to Smug Alana. Great content. Great content. Sarcasta78 for 5 says, brilliant by her lawyer to bring up the notion of precedent with the sentence and the judge's reasoning. Help us, Obi-Wan Bong Bong. Our best hope. Yeah, her lawyer's really good. They're a competent law firm, and I have faith that they're going to write a good written opinion that's going to help the prosecutors get an appeal. Finney Ferrister, 688 for 10 says, it's personal flexible morals. I can take up the banner of the one dislike. So the ghost of Somali can live on in your heart. Why, thank you. Why, thank you. That'll.
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no.
Somali every time he sees a Legal Mindset video, which he can no longer watch. I'm very sad. Police Paparazzi said they're going to cover the Canadian nuisance streamer True North Transparency getting sued by American lawyer with a RICO suit. I'll look into it. Certainly, if you email me, andrewesquireonlive@gmail.com, I can check out the story if you've got some stuff to send me, but I'll take a look at it. Usagi's Moon, a member for 15 months, says, praying gets more time. Lots of love, Andrew. Thank you. Profane says, oh no, but who will threaten the SCT now that Ramsey's in jail? I know. Who's going to send those messages that they know people in Korea and have money, right? And therefore they're going to get us. Yeah, it's very funny. We're going to miss those incompetent threats. But all things move on. ED says, does he have to register as an offender? My position is he does. I'm going to do a separate video on this because it's very new law in the United States and the deepfake is not one-to-one. So it's not a perfect case. It actually would be creating new law, but the laws that require this registration from abroad, they're also very new. So what I'm saying is that Somali would kind of be a test case for the law. So it would be making an argument that he does. So I am making the argument, right, that Somali has to register as a sex offender in the U.S. However, I'm sure if Somali wanted to spend money and get an attorney in the US, he can argue that, right? There's a counter argument to that, right? But I would argue that he does, right? B Bark says, will the SCT be at the appeal court dates? If the appeals, and which I think there will be, we will be attending everything we can appeal. Everything we can attend. So if we can attend it, we will be there, right? Exo Smiling says you should send him a cabbage plushie. Well, there's no cabbage plushies allowed in jail. He's going to be real stacked up in that detention center. And I'm going to talk about the conditions in jail in a future episode. Cat Smash, welcome as a new member. All right, let's jump right into it. I'm going to whip out my PP here, guys. Get ready for it. But we've got the Somali's messy breakup, and I will answer all your super chats and questions and everything else like that as well. So we're going to be talking about the breakup. Now, most of you may know who Hank is. Now, I put a poll in the chat. Did you know Johnny Somali and Hank Yoo had a fallout? 33% said yes, 57% said no, and only 11% said who's Hank. But some of you may not know about Hank Yoo, and Hank Yoo is a character, and I think this picture really emphasizes it. He simps for the CCP. He wants to go live in China, go work in China, study in China. So he's a real big CCP simp. He used to have a little bit of a different background. For those that don't know, he was the man known as the Asian Nazi who faced federal charges of illegal gun purchases. An East Texas man with a penchant for dressing as a Confederate soldier and singing Dixie online now faces multiple federal charges related to illegal gun purchases. So he actually was caught up on federal crimes, spent time in prison, and he learned some really interesting things in prison. And we're going to replay the clips from prison, about his experience in prison. But he lost his green card, so he is no longer a U.S. permanent resident. Over those charges. And it was a very interesting time for him. Very, very interesting time for him. Now, I'll show you guys, and you're going to have to, we're going to have to mind the language here. It is a little bit, I'm going to have to put some in the swear jar for all of this bad language here. But Johnny Somali and Hank were pretty much inseparable from the beginning. And Hank was very much in on a lot of what Johnny Somali was doing. Whenever they would run into the police, whenever they would have an encounter with police, he would definitely come in and intervene and definitely get involved. And, Hank was out there harassing people side by side with Johnny. So make no mistake, Hank, throughout the beginning, since he got there, and since he was helping him and paying for him, has been like mano-a-mano with Johnny. So I'm going to play a clip. And yes, the language is a little bit vile here, so I am sorry, guys. But you can see here that he was very much involved.
Yo, you guys want to be on stream? Oh, my friend's streaming. You want to be on it? No? Oh, fuck you, bitch ass nigga. Let's go.
Harassing people, and it escalates. Like, they escalate in their harassment of people who just don't want to be involved and don't want anything to do with these crazy people. I mean, imagine you see Johnny Somali. He's looking like, the Somali, the version of the worm from the MIB, sleazing up to you. And Hank, who he looks like an unstable character when you see him.
Let's go then.
They're in Hongdae here in Seoul. This is about 2 years ago.
You guys want to be on stream? No? Fuck you, bitch ass nigga. Yo, you guys want to be on stream? What? What's up, nigga? Yeah, fuck you, bitch ass nigga.
So, he's right there with Johnny. He's right there with Johnny like the entire time. Once again, right there, doing the exact same stuff.
Hank, I love you. Hey, girl, you want to be on stream? My friend's stream. Yo, fuck you, bitch ass nigga. Whole ass nigga.
Oh my god! Yes,
And he's out there enabling him to do this stuff, because without Hank, without Hank there, like side by side with him, he would not feel brave enough to do stuff. He would not feel like he's able to get away from police, like he's able to navigate situations. If Hank wasn't there with him, he wouldn't have been able to do stuff like that, right? Some of it he would have done anyways, because Johnny Somali did do really annoying stuff and did, go crazy. But a lot of this was because Hank was actually there, right? Now, Hank has never been charged. Right. So I have to be very clear. Hank is not convicted like Somali, but Hank certainly enabled it. Right. And that's showing you just him being there doing it. We're going to talk to you. I'm going to show you a second in a clip about how much money he paid him, which is insane. And really the point behind the breakup, because Hank is all about money. He's a money guy. Chicago Guy for 10 says, thanks for great coverage. My pleasure. Aquel Happy says, as always, sending our love and gratitude to you from Israel. Hey, appreciate that. Aaron Chris Boggs says, Andrew, Chris from FNF, thank you. Kettlefire Charmer Hitler for 5 says, I kind of wonder how much did Hank and his family spend in total on the lawyer to represent Ramsey Khalid Ismail and living in Hank's home? We're going to answer this question right now. So let me get to my I'm going to put my PP here, and then we're gonna get to the clip. All right. So right here, my opening statements. And yes, I think someone asked, will there be a fast fax on this? There will definitely be a fast fax on this. Yeah, someone asked here, Dark Strahler said, we do a fast fax. Also, don't believe any jail time will make them change. The only thing that his sentence will do is to stop any nuisance streamer going to accounts. We'll see. It's got to be, I think they have to up it to make sure the nuisance streamers stay out. But yes, there will be a fast fax, of course. So Johnny Somali, Ramsey Khalid Ismail wouldn't survive without Hank Yoo. And Ramsey borrowed a lot of money from Hank. So here is a clip from a year ago, and actually almost more than a year ago now, where Hank went on this podcast, the K-Town Social Club, and here's what he had to say about how much money he spent on Johnny Somali.
This Johnny Somali thing, we did that interview with you in December.
Yeah.
That whole incident where getting jumped and all that, that was like September or October of last year? It's been almost a year, right?
Right.
So in the past, in all this period of time, you're basically Johnny's savior. You're like people say you're like his sugar daddy,
I definitely was saying that. I definitely was one to use the sugar daddy term, because I mean, their relationship was very odd, and I don't want to, once again, in the past episodes, we've speculated in exactly what their relationship was, and I'll let you guys fill in those blanks. But definitely sponsoring Johnny while Johnny was pretty much doing nothing for him. Like, Johnny was not providing him with anything. He wasn't getting any social media clout. He wasn't really getting anything in return that we know of, right? From Hank wasn't receiving anything from Johnny, so that we know of, right?
So it's kind of like,
It was, yeah.
How much have you personally spent thus far helping and supporting your friend? I mean, it must be a lot of money. Food, alcohol, the rent, the increased utility costs, the inconvenience of, there's all these costs that are going to, plus legal fees, I'm sure. Like, how much have you spent so far?
I'm not sure, but I don't buy him alcohol. I've never bought him alcohol.
Well, and that's such cope from Hank, by the way, because when you're providing somebody a bunch of money, so if you're giving somebody money for food, money for living expenses, money for legal expenses, you're pretty much financing his life. Then he's going to take what money he does have, which is very little, but in Korea, soju costs like $1. So you can go in and buy alcohol for like $1, right, and get drunk. And we saw Johnny drinking soju. So essentially, you're subsidizing him so he can use what little money he has to buy soju, right, and to get drunk. So even if you don't buy it directly, you are indirectly allowing him, you're financing him so he can spend his money on alcohol. So that's kind of bullshit. Even if you're not buying it directly, you're indirectly enabling him to do that. So I think that's bullshit. And a lot of what Johnny did and a lot of the stuff that was really crazy was when he got drunk. He would get drunk, crash out, and go crazy. Also, Darklight, thank you for 10 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you so much.
Emotional cabbage.
Appreciate that. Let's continue.
I see.
Yeah.
You don't know how much you spent supporting Johnny. Would you say it's over $10,000 US?
Including
legal fee, everything for Johnny.
Legal fees? Yes.
And because of extra money you had to pay because of the inconvenience of Johnny there, over 10,000? Over 20,000?
Close to it.
Close.
Okay, so this was a year ago. So mind you, over 20,000, around 20,000. This was about a year ago. The number we have today, the number I've been told by sources that are more involved in this, is much higher now, right? So the amount of money that Johnny effectively scammed off of Hank is way higher. It's extremely high number. And once again, Hank's provided all of this, and we're also going to see how Johnny treated Hank and what he said about Hank, despite the fact he gave all this stuff right to him.
To $20,000. You're doing this for a friend who, before he even came to Korea, you didn't even know him personally, right?
No, I didn't.
Wow.
That's because helping him aligns with my own honor compass.
And we're gonna pay attention to that, the wording, by the way. It's gonna come back. Honor compass, honor code, right? So there's all this honor, but the question is, especially for a person like Hank, is there a price for your honor compass? Does your honor compass and your morals, those have a price, right? And I think we're finding out that it indeed does.
You think that if the situation was reversed, Johnny would do as much for you as you've done for him?
Probably not, but
definitely not. Definitely not.
I don't expect I'm doing this for me. I'm not doing this for him. Basically,
this is part of your legacy as you're like a free speech hero, right?
Yes.
This is about liberty.
This is about liberty.
Okay.
Even liberty has a price, and we're gonna come out with that. So Hank saying, "Hey, I'm doing this for liberty. I'm doing all this other stuff." There's limits on that. Because now, and this is what brings us to where we're at now. Now we know that after the trial, and this is what we're getting the main news, and I'm going to show you guys text messages and other stuff. But now we have reports. We're going to show you that now that Ramsey's in jail, now that he's gone away, Hank wants to collect the money. Hank wants his money back. But yeah. So, okay, let's continue. So, by the way, speaking of wanting to collect, if you guys haven't collected your Cabbage plushie, make sure you do that in the description, in the pinned comment. Get them. They're very cute. Okay. It's my promotional pitch today. All right. Hope you guys enjoy that. Get your Cabbage plushie. All right. So, before I get to the text messages, let me stop sharing that and before I get to the text messages and the Discord, which kind of reveals this. Hank has been a person that always puts a price on things, and he's very money centric. And this is something that you see in his time that he was in jail. So I'm going to play this clip from K-Town Social Club, and it kind of tells you everything you need to know about Hank in terms of how far he's willing to go for money, right? And this clip kind of encapsulates it. If you haven't seen this clip before, you can fast forward to 5916 on the Liberty Lawsuits and Lube, the Hank Yoo files, K-Town Social Club, episode 130. So let's play this. Let's play this clip. Unedited.
Like he paid me, like he gave me extra food for like massaging his back and shit.
So you've done a lot of things in providing physical pleasure for men. Yeah. Massaging, letting guys grope you, finger you.
Hey,
what else have you done?
Everything has a price.
There you go. Hank said it, not me. Hank said everything has a price. Everything has a price. And apparently his honor compass, his word, that's got a price too. But I'll let this play out. Now, I will say, I am letting this play out exclusively in the live stream, not in the fast facts, because I want to keep the fast facts clean. But I'm going to play out the rest of this for you guys on the live, just so you hear it. And you did not hear wrong, right? So watch him double down.
Right. You said, okay, I don't know. I thought you were joking, but I don't know if you're joking or not. Last time in December, you said your price is you would suck a guy's dick for $3,000.
Yes.
What is it? 3,000 for sucky, 10,000. Yeah, for 3,000 you would give a blowjob, and for 10,000 you would fuck a guy.
Yes, in the ass.
That's true.
Yes.
Have you?
There's no denial, right? So this is not me making it up. Once again, Hank at one point was like threatening me with defamation, and I'm like, Hank, are you aware how defamation works? when you make the statement, and it's absolutely true, especially by American law, YouTube's in America, etc., right? You make a statement yourself. I'm not even saying it. You're saying it, buddy. I'm not saying it. You're saying it. I just let the statement speak for itself. You said it on the internet publicly.
You done that though?
No.
So
No
it's
one
a
offered me.
joke, right?
No.
He clarifies it's not a joke.
I would absolutely do it if someone offered me, but like no one offered me. But I did suck off 2 femboys. No, 3 femboys.
Okay, we're gonna stop there. But as you guys see, Hank Yoo is a character, right? Hank Yoo is a character, and definitely money is very forward with Hank, right? Yeah, dude. In case you guys didn't know this is very educational information here. Okay, and I'll play this other clip too, because the interesting thing is, even after all that Hank did for Johnny, right, in terms of providing him money, providing him shelter, pretty much being his translator, his like a substitute lawyer. He's not a lawyer, but like he was his pretend lawyer in Korea, right? He was doing all these things for him. And here's what Johnny has to say about Hank, right? So this is after doing all of these things. This is what he's got to say about him.
Did you see the Hank stick?
Oh.
That's what he's got to say about Hank. That's what he's got to like deal with Hank. That's the type of relationship those guys have. So after that, he's the smack talking him, making fun of him, right? That's the relationship between these two, right? Johnny's always just mocking him and getting absolutely nothing out of him. All right, I'm gonna get some of these super chats, and then we're gonna get into the how this goes downhill legally, right? Because there is a point to this, right? And it does segue into something potentially legal, as you guys are gonna see. But first, let me get these. Dark Striler says, I can't afford a privacy editor. Can you put emotional cabbage on the screen, please? I can do that.
Emotional cabbage.
There we go. All right. Mercenary X21 says, hey, Andrew, I'm doing okay for the most part. Cool, but I'm seriously disappointed the judge sentencing something about what we got with the sentencing stinks to me. Yes, and a lot of people. Korean media is going crazy. So Dr. Ulrich, Gabe, others on the SCT that are in Korea have been showing me what's going on in Korean media, and they are mad too. So it's not just us in the West or us on YouTube. People want a harsher sentence. They do want a harsher sentence. They do think the judge was wrong on that. Sebastian Humor, 2138 says, hello, Hank. What do you think about the idea of Ramsey not being allowed to have a smartphone as part of his sex offender restrictions? I think it might help him out. Can you give your opinion? Well, I know Hank is probably going to watch this. So I do indeed hope he can communicate some messages to Ramsey when he goes to, if he goes to visit him in jail. Well, no, I don't even know if he's even going to do that at this point, because things have fallen out, as we're going to see based on these messages that were released on X and other places. Mercenary X21 for 5 says, a retired Marine once told me, never ignore your gut, always go with it. And for me, my gut is screaming at me about Johnny Salami's sentencing. Yeah, it needs to be more. We agree. The Red Zeno 1824 for £5 says, did Hank seriously think Johnny would pay him back? Yes, he did. He really did. He genuinely thought Johnny Somali was going to pay him back. And there is some debate, because Johnny Somali at some point did make money off of stake back in the day, and he did earn some Bitcoin. It's theoretically possible that Johnny did have some money stashed away that he didn't, use or didn't convert to like help himself. It's possible that he scammed Hank by saying he didn't have any money when he really does have some money somewhere. Dartmosh 6601 for 5 says, is this SOP where they sentence him a small one first and pile on more? It's not standard. It's not standard. They should have given him a longer one, but they could, the prosecutors, if the prosecutors are mad with the judge, they can just file more charges. They can do it that way. 74 Deeds for 5 says, sorry I'm late. Would an open petition for a harsher penalty carry any weight in the Korean courtroom? No, it would not, but it might carry some weight in the media and public sentiment. So to the extent that an appeal goes on or there's an opportunity for that, we may do that. I will get you guys where we're having some discussions with the SCT on what's effective, on what to do to kind of make sure everything goes forward. But there may be some options going forward to help push this. But I'll let you guys know. And obviously, this coverage, my videos, these things get translated into Korean, other languages, and that does help. Michael McLeod says, if he has to register an SO, how long will he stay on the registry? For the same amount of time as he is required in Korea. Zuki Bites 499 says, thanks for the late night stream, Legal Mindset. Let's hope the Somali sentence gets appealed by the prosecution. He needs more time in prison, much more. I agree. Anime says, I don't know Hank was part of the KKK. He was part of a lot of things when he was in the U.S. Chaos Smash says, scale of 1 to 10, how good are the chances? The chances are about 9 for there being an appeal. It is very high percentage of an appeal at this point. Anonymous person 8317 says, do we know what Johnny Somali will do for work? He probably will be making odang, which is fish cakes, Korean fish cakes, or cleaning the toilets, because Johnny is probably going to be ranked kind of low in the pecking order, and they often make the lowest person in the pecking order clean the toilets. So Johnny Somali will probably be a toilet scrubber. Serial Killer said, became a new member. Welcome. Colt Kid said, would you be willing to interview Hank on a live? I would not interview Hank live because his language is too bad. I would be willing to record an interview with Hank if Hank wanted to, come on and do a confessional and do that. I'd be willing to record one with Hank and then censor his bad language. Yeah, that'd be possible. Deborah Hall 902 says, hydrate. Yeah, I've had a cough, but I'm getting over it. But I'm here for you guys. I'm a man of the people. I pony up and do the work. Captain Colombo for 5 says, any word yet if he'll have to register when he returns? My position is yes. Any update on Gino? Should not forget him. I've not forgotten Gino, but at this point, Gino's out of Korea. So Korea can't do anything about Gino because he's not there. They're not going to extradite Gino to Korea. That's not going to happen. Dark Straddler for 100 Argentina says, we didn't need to know Hank's love life. Honestly, congratulations to Hank for going out with them boys because we're too straight to do that. Yeah, listen, I don't care what you do in your personal life. This has more to do with Hank's relationship with money. Hank really cares about money. And at a certain point, you heard him talk about his honor compass and doing this for free speech and etc. You're going to see that all of that went down the drain in this breakup. That is actually all that stuff I showed you is not just for the laughs. It's to show you his motivations and how these two broke apart and now how there can be liability coming from that, at least for Somali. Germ said, we're all going to have to bait Johnny by saying it's illegal to go to the North Sentinel Island when he gets out, right? Everyone will join the content. Yeah, the guy who went to North Sentinel Island just got sentenced to, I believe, 5 years in prison. Legend Hilly's 47,812 for 50 Danish krona. Says, I'm more surprised he wasn't singing I'm a good old rebel. Well, there's a lot of songs out there. Jose Poveda for 2,500 Chilean pesos. Says the night before he was sentenced, he published a very bad video about you. Are you planning to use your legal powers again? No, I really don't care about that sort of like usually with Johnny Somali and other stuff in their Discord, and this has been something going on throughout the trial. There's a lot of defamation, other stuff. First of all, a lot of the folks are defamation proof, etc. And third of all, with most things, it's better just to ignore them rather than to give them credit or clout or anything else and have to deal with that. He's in jail right now, so that's the fitting punishment for him. And, once again, you shouldn't care what really dumb people on the internet say in general. So, no, I'm not really bothered by what the Somali Discord does. They've been trying to rattle me and rattle others on the SCT for a very long time. It's been very unsuccessful. Then Big Old Eyes for 15 Malaysian ringgit says, we need to arrest Hank, put him on trial, and send him to the same prison as Johnny. It just ain't right to separate the two clout-struck lovers. Well, you're going to see they don't want to be together. At least Hank doesn't want to be with him. Kettlefire Charmer Hilta says, is it possible the judge may face some legal challenges over sentencing, especially with the judge lying about Bong Bong's testimony? The judge will not be punished, although Koreans are so mad that they are calling for the judge to be punished in the comments. So if you read the comments in Korean, there's comments saying the judge should be punished. Beatrice says, all this is money just for the $2 tips Johnny's getting more than a tip for $2. No, but that said, actually, in prison, Johnny's probably just going to be forced to do work that other cellmates direct him to do because he doesn't speak Korean. He's going to kind of be the lowest rung on the totem pole. He's the smallest guy in there. So prison's not going to be fun for him. Germ for 5 says, I doubt Hank thought he was going to have the money back. He thought that being Johnny Somali's sidekick would bring in ROI, and that fell through. So why not sue? We're going to show you what he thought just now. I'll get one more. I'll get two more, and then we're going to go. Marzi Malfoy as a new member. Welcome. And Sebastian Huma says, clarification, no smartphone when he gets back to the U.S. as a sex offender. As part of restrictions as a sex offender, it takes away the means of clout. That would be really nice if they took away his cell phone in the U.S. I'm not going to lie. But, all right. Also, Danny Skier said, according to Tozy, Gino got arrested in the Philippines. Interesting. I don't think he's held there, though. I'll have to double check on that. They should have held Vitaly for longer, though. All right. So let's get into what happened with the fallout. So this is on the Discord, and I had to censor this because the language is bad, but you guys can kind of see it here. So this is in the Somali Discord. So this is kind of some people tagging Hank very recently. So they're saying to Hank, you are a B, and you guys can kind of fill in the blank on what B is. Letting a Somalian midget get over on you. You realize how fake you are. Change your bio to the fakest Korean. Hanky Poo knows it's true. How does it feel? Scared of Ramsey. Hanky Poo is always scared. You're not visiting Ramsey when he's locked up anymore. Spent 20 to 30,000 on Ramsey. It's actually more. From what I hear. Tell Hanky Poo. So the people on the Discord were probing him and bothering him, and you can see as we go here in these Telegram messages, right? With Hank, right, where somebody is actually having kind of like a one-on-one conversation with Hank here, that Hank is preparing to do something with Johnny. Let's read this. So this is from Hank, perspective of Hank. He says, so I have zero obligation to talk to you. I need to take care of a lot of stuff, right? Also, F Ramsey, I don't give an F anymore. He goes to prison over this shit. That's on his ass. None of my business. So the person claps back to him and says, so much for your honor code, but all right. He says, I mean, he's the one who betrayed it, so I don't really care anymore. Someone asked, how do you mean? So you mean you give up on him then? Yeah, and more. You don't have to know the rest. In time, everything will be clear. So they ask, in what sense? He says again, and every time in time, everything will be clear. Why? That's all I'm going to say for now. Until then, no one will know shit. So the person prods him again, saying, this is the one chance you can make right now to turn your life around and get the internet to get off your back for good. He continues, you don't have the full story of what I did to Ramsey legally recently. Do you really want to know? Right? So here's a clip from K-Town Social Club. And this kind of gets into where we're at, right? And let's play this clip because this is very, very key here.
So you sue a lot of people, don't you?
I sue a lot of. If anyone fucks with my life, liberty, or property, they're getting sued.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. So
they're getting sued.
So that's his statement. Hank says he sues everybody. And now, apparently, that is a class of people that includes Johnny Somali, right? So it's like, that's the implication here, right? Clearly from those messages and from other things. And we've had some leaked stuff. You can see that through Johnny Somali on X and other places that he is thinking about a lawsuit against Somali. Now, why is that important? And here's what I want to put here. Now, of course, we don't have confirmation of whether or not he's done this. It seems like he probably hasn't done it yet. But why is that important? Because if Hank does sue Somali, Somali will be unable to leave Korea during the civil trial. So let me say it again. If Hank sues Somali, Somali can't leave during the trial. So what does that mean? Even after the 6 months, he'd be stuck in there because of Hank. So if he doesn't pay up, it would be bad for him. And the rumor is, so you guys saw 20 to 30,000. The rumor is that it's up to $50,000. $50,000 is the rumor for what it is with the amount of money, right? So that is a lot of money. And now it's just clear. Look, Somali lied to everybody, lied to his audience, lied to police, and he even lied to his former friend Hank. So I actually have sympathy for Hank in the way that like he got scammed like many other people got scammed. Now, of course, Hank is very culpable in doing a lot of things. But Hank, it's your time to do the right thing and sue Somali. Get that money back, keep him there longer, right? That will be absolutely fantastic. Everyone wants to see that. So everyone wants to see Hank coming through and suing Somali. So that's where we're at with that. And that makes it a very messy breakup. This is like a divorce, right? Where do all divorces end up? They end up in court, right? This is a messy divorce. It's playing out on the internet. We're seeing it go down. And if he files this, we're going to stay on top of this and we'll report it to you guys, because obviously that'd be huge. Now, I don't know whether they attempt to work it out or maybe the threat of a lawsuit is enough. I don't know. We'll see. But that's what we have out there kind of percolating. And I think that's very important because it could end up landing Somali stuck there even longer, which is great. Fantastic. Chu Unthor for 200 Czech krona says the judge won't get dragged. The ridiculously low sentence is honestly the smallest of the Korean justice system's problems, but I really hope the appeal gets granted and he gets 3 years or more. Yeah, they're not going to punish the judge, but the appeal could go up to 3 years. So if they appeal it, they could get 3 years. It's very possible. Krista Chips is a new member. Welcome. Seto Kaiba says, damn, this is a worse breakup than I had yesterday. Sorry for your breakup, bro. Hope you're all right. There's always more out there. Plambo Noob for 5 says, I love the idea of denying RKI the right to know exactly when he can leave if the prosecutors just file more charges during the initial 6 months. And the beautiful thing is, once you're in the detention center, they don't tell you anything. So Somali is not going to get other than, from his lawyer, assuming he keeps the same lawyer. Because remember, when you pay for a lawyer, you're paying for just the first trial. He didn't pay for the appeal yet, as far as I know. So maybe he has to get a new lawyer. Maybe he has to get a public defender. Who knows, right? We'll see what happens during the appeal. And obviously, we'll keep you guys updated on that. Can said this boatload of VTuber drama. Yeah, well, I'll get to that on another day. Marzi Malfoy gifted 10 illegal mindset memberships. Thank you so much.
Are you guys enjoying the stream today?
Make sure to say thank you for those memberships. And thank you guys for all being here. I love all you guys. GRG Projects says for 5, in South Korea, the mere mention of North Korea is against the law, let alone to support it. I'm surprised they didn't charge him with espionage. They dropped those charges. So at one point, they were musing those. The police were thinking about them, but they actually dropped those charges. So they at one point questioned him about it, but they dropped it. AM Gameplay for 499 says, I get the sentencing is low, but do we know the precedent for foreigners? Maybe the judge was light because he's not a Korean. No, there are foreigners. We went over on my last Fast Facts video. You can check that out. Those were foreigners, many of those cases. So there's some for Koreans, some for foreigners, but there were cases involving foreigners. And the case that we brought up, the John Doe case that we compared it to that got 12 months, that was a foreigner. That was a foreigner. Germ 70 for 5 says, I hope everyone loses in the Hank versus RKI lawsuit. Hank gets no money, Johnny wins the trial, and Hank bankrupts himself, stalling the trial for years. Well, that would be a win-win for just the universe. But yeah. Luliu 4572 for 5 says, I know he deserves more time, but is it fair to say that he has now isn't a vacation? He's still getting dragged through the mud for 6 months. Yes. He is sleeping packed in a cell. He's at the Seoul Detention Center, specifically the Seoul Nambu Detention Center. The detention centers are at 130% capacity. Let me say that again. They're at 130% capacity. He is packed in there, sleeping like head to foot, like somebody's feet are on his head and his feet are on somebody else's. He is crammed in there in the detention center. They get 30 minutes of outdoor time. It's not good. We're going to go into more of the prison conditions, but this is not a fun prison. This is not Norwegian prison, right? This is sorry, Norway. I love you, Norway, but this is not like cushy, like you get massages and there's candles lit. No, this is packed in like sardines. There's a rank there. The foreigners are like second-class citizens. Excuse me, because they don't speak Korean, and the guards are not going to help you. They're not going to tell you anything. They're just going to say you have the right to an appeal, and after they say that they're done, right? They're done. Dark Charlotte for 100 says divorce leads children to the worst places. HR Haken for 50 Norwegian krona says Hank's being split from RK is good. Now let's hope he gets the mental health he needs because he is not 100%. and he's not an evil gnome or anything. No, and I've said this before. I've always said this about Hank. Hank needs serious mental health care, right? And clearly Johnny took advantage of his like mental health conditions, and he needs to like actually see an expert and stop associating with these people and stop getting dragged around with these people. You know, I hope Hank can turn his life around, and maybe step one is to you know, fix this relationship with Somali. But you know, it's definitely not the right track, and it's certainly not for free speech. This is nothing about free speech at all whatsoever, right? It's never been free speech to go out and commit crimes ever. Beatrice Sims 2436 for $4.99 says, clarification. I find it insane that Hank invested $30K plus in Johnny so he can earn $2 to $3 live stream tips. Bad business investment. It's embarrassing. Yeah, and when is he going to get that money back? Like, how is he going to get that money back? Cool said, are we able to send plushes to Johnny in jail? No, I don't think you can. I don't think you can send them to Johnny in jail. They can't have these personal items in jail. And they're too cute. It's too cute for Johnny. Get one for yourself because it's too good for Johnny. The cabbages are too good for Johnny, right? Red Zeno says, do you think Johnny will have any sense of regret after going to detention center? Yes. I do think that is a horrible place to be put. He's not going to be having fun in there. He is certainly not going to be having fun in the detention center. So it is not a picnic. It's not a walk in the park. EDMG for that 50K. What was he applying for American college? I know. Does Hank realistically have a case win? It's an open and shut case. If Hank can prove, which I think he has, and sorry guys, I forgot my water here. Does Hank it's clear. Show you sent the money. I think there's IOUs. We had a copy that Somali exposed of one IOU he had. Like, just show the documents, show the transfers. It should be clear case. Is the other charge district happening? It may happen. We're going to track that, and we may try to push that ourselves, the SCT. And by the way, if you guys want to support the SCT, you can head over to Ko-Fi and drop a little dono there. I mean, obviously everything helps, but we appreciate that. It's been a big team. You know, it's all Professor Ulrich, everybody else there. That link is in the description. It's also in the comments and in the chat. So you can get that. Thank you. And we appreciate you guys supporting us and everybody out there. We got translations and transcripts for every single trial, so we knew what was going on. And that helped people doing their coverage, myself, Atozi, others. So we all appreciate that. Profane says the prison should stream RKI and accept subs. That'd be cool. Beatrice says Johnny got crit hit to prison. Now he's stun locked. Not Water says the Korean breakfast sandwich culture sick or what? Koreans have some good food. I will say that. They do have some great food. I like the egg drop sandwich. It's good. Foxy says it must have been love, but it's over now. There's so many songs about the breakup of Johnny and Hank I wish I could play if I wouldn't get copyright struck on YouTube. My karaoke voice is a little weak right now. It must have been love, but it's over now. Okay, I'm not going to torture you guys. That's cruel and unusual punishment. Dart Mosh says, can we send prison mail to troll him like Maduro? We may be able to send mail. I'm going to look into the mail part. He's definitely not going to be able to accept the plushie, but he may be able to get mail. I'll check on that. Nanoparticle 7 for $1.99 says, can Hank get RKI conjugal visits? Well, the conjugalness is over, right? It's broken up. And I think it's for good. Look, I have some a modicum of sympathy for Hank. And if Hank wants to try to make himself good in lights of the world and lights of everybody else, and he also wants to get distance from this and get away from this, he needs to sue Johnny, right? Make it right, sue it, make it. Once again, he cares about money. Everything has a price. And clearly his honor compass, his moral code, there's a price on that. And I think that price is $50,000, right? I think $50,000 is more than enough justification to want to sue somebody and recover that money. I'll get these last ones here. Mr. Heineken 88 for €6 says, in theory, when Johnny's sentence is permanent, can the streaming platforms be charged for enabling the scramble library? No, they're going to be pretty protected for that. You wouldn't say they did anything abnormal because the second they were criminal, they banned them. So let's look at Vitaly. Vitaly's now banned after he defamed somebody pretty much openly by accusing them of being a PDF, right? And he's banned. And before, when Vitaly got arrested in the Philippines, he was banned. When Johnny Somali did his stuff in Israel, he was banned, right? So a lot of the stuff that was off a kick, at least, right? A lot of the stuff that was shown, eventually he got banned. His channels are deleted now off of YouTube, etc., other places. So, pretty much Johnny is already shut down off of all the major platforms. And at the time, they weren't doing anything that was so beyond the pale. Now, if they knew Johnny was a criminal and they still allowed him on there, then they could start incurring liability. Good question, though. Zio05 says, do you think the other inmates are aware of who Johnny is and what he's done? If so, do you think they're going to give him a hard time? Some of them will be. Not all of them, but remember, Johnny Somali's antics were about 2 years ago. So there's people that are already arrested and were in there that knew about Johnny Somali for sure. So there's definitely going to be people that know about Johnny Somali in there, without a doubt. Isaac F85 says for 15, do you think there's room in the legal system as a whole for schadenfreude, for practitioners of law? I think you have to be professional. So obviously for judges and lawyers, you can't have the sick pleasure in the courtroom. But if you want to know about dark humor, certainly lawyers have and judges have dark humor outside of the courtroom. So if you catch a judge or a lawyer in a bar and you're asking them questions, yeah, they can get pretty morbid. There's a lot of schadenfreude there. But that's outside of the court. Chu Unther for 100 check Krona says all the mail you need to send to RKI is 1 FA and 2 FO. That's true. Sebastian Mueller, 7013 for 28 months says Johnny is going to spend time in the cabbage fields. He'll probably spend time in the fish cake factory is where he's going to be. So here's what we got coming up for Johnny Somali. There's going to be an update on the appeal and how that goes. We're coming into that this next week. As that develops, I'm going to get you something on that. We're also going to have an insider look at Inside Korean Prison. We had an interview with somebody who actually was a inmate in the detention center and told us all about it. So we're going to have all the details, all that stuff that's coming this week. Like I said, I'm going to have some member streams coming up and some other updates on other legal topics I've been covering. But thank you guys all for joining me here today. It's been amazing. I am sad that it's broken up, but as always, some things must come to an end and there can't be too much coping and seething. I'll get this last one. Nano Particle 499 says, can Hank's family declare Hank a tard and go after RKR money? Well, the family, remember, he's a Silver Spoons family, which is an upper class family. So the family's been enabling paying for Hank, which is indeed paying for Johnny, and they didn't like that. Then it's clear, they made it clear they didn't like that, apparently, according to what Hank said. Hank said his family doesn't like that he does this for Johnny and doesn't like what he's doing. So I think the family is going to be happy to have this all over and have Johnny out of their life. That's what I'm saying. Anyways, stay based, guys. Don't be coping and seething.
You are coping and seething. You just can't believe what you're seeing. It's you coping and seething. The truth it is all day, and now you are molding.